Yo, what is going on? One more in the books here for Nerdology 101. Today we are doing Falcon and Winter Soldier, as well as Snyder's cut of Justice. And here, joining me to aid me down this road is our co-host, Big Sword.
Hello, America.
What's going on, man?
Big Swerve. All right, we're here to go ahead and we're here to go ahead, punching it up, having a good old time here on the interwebs. Wow, yeah, spitting image, man. What can I say? Spitting image. That's a good-looking cat.
Yo, I found your dad, bro.
That's a good-looking cat there. Who is that?
Right on, man. What's up, man?
All right,
What's going on?
so
What
here, not much. So here's the thing. For this show, we're going to go off on a bit of a tangent. It's not just a Snyder cut. It's not just Falcon and Winter Soldier. Today, we're going to cover with everything that's been going on. Whether you're talking about the Snyder cut and all the hoopla, positive reviews, and the money, of course, the cheddar that HBO, Warner Brothers are now making off of it to this day. Falcon Winter Soldier, Disney Plus, shelling out those Marvel movies and TV shows, or the whole collection being there for you. We're going to cover universes, whether it's universe in literature, whether it's film, whether it's cinema universes. This is where we're going to take you on a little bit of a lecture here. First, the big question everyone's going to have is, what is a universe? What do they mean by universe? And what that means, it's a shared setting.
Hold
Then bring out the nerd meter.
We still got no nerd meter, man. We just need the topic. We're not jumping in yet. Got to bring in our next co-host.
Yeah, we got to bring in the straight man.
Ivan. And listen up, man. I don't know if you guys know, but Ivan was day drinking today.
Just in case. That's news.
This guy was about to leave me in the dust. Like he was like,
yeah, he moved on
right into it. Like,
yeah, he jumped in the car in Florida.
I thought you were gonna jump him in.
Yeah, I pulled in the car. You know what I mean? I pulled him in the car. I was like, Irving, get in. And then he just jumped in the driver's seat and was like, let's roll. It's like, whoa.
Well, we're going.
You're forgetting somebody.
What is beneath chopped liver? That's feeling. I'm watching this. I'm like, yo,
we're going on a time machine.
Irving's just going to go on with the show without even letting me in. Say,
gizzards.
Hey, there's somebody that
might gizzards. What am I?
I'm chopped gizzards.
What am I? Chicken gizzards?
Chicken gizzards.
What am I?
Good,
chicken gizzards?
Let it go. Chicken gizzards are good.
I like liver, and I like chicken gizzards. So
yeah,
whatever.
That
I don't mind liver.
All right, man. Let's get into it.
What, chicken butt?
I love liver.
I hate chicken gizzards.
Yeah, no, liver.
Liver.
I love liver with some, with some fava beans and a glass of Chianti. Delicious.
Yeah, I don't mind liver.
Okay. What the fuck was that?
This is where we're gonna go ahead and
not my favorite, but
dude, shit got weird really quick. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but yeah, let's keep it pushing.
All right. So let's talk about cinematic universes, all kinds of universes. We're talking. The first question everyone has is, what do they mean by universe?
Let's do it.
Yeah. What do they mean by universe? When people are talking about a universe, what they're really talking about is a shared setting, shared background, where a story takes place. Much like if you've ever watched a Kevin Smith movie, they all take place in New Jersey. In the New Jersey universe. Anyone who watched Friends back when they were growing up. That shared the same setting in New York as Mad About You. Why? The character Ursula was the same character from that show. They all took place in the same location. When you're talking about movies, we all know what they mean. Look at the Marvel films. They all exist. They can all cross over. They all exist in the same universe. At first, it was the same planet. Now it's the same galaxy. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that everything has to be strung in a certain, in a certain order. Some films you can watch by themselves. Some books you can read by themselves. Books, that's Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit. That takes place in its own universe.
Hold on. Hey, man, before further, I love where you're going with this because it reminds me of when I was a little kid, right? You watch sitcoms, and I feel like they did this a lot better when we were like little kids or before we were little kids, right? Yeah. Remember watching like sitcoms, like and it's even before our time, but there was reruns. Like Happy Days would have like, they spawned other
Laverne and Shirley,
right? Like, and it was like so exciting when they would be on there. Like, it's like, oh man, it's like, oh, like, you get excited like hell to see like a whole nother show, like crossover. And there's more like that. But for whatever reason, it's one thing to watch a movie, but like when a TV has the crossovers, I get super excited about that. I love that.
And that's what universes do. That's the advantage of a shared setting. Go ahead.
So in the universe of in the universe of Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, and all those, it's been speculated for a long time that all those worlds are connected.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like,
you're right.
Like one of those examples is in Reservoir Dogs. Vic Vega is related. I think he's like the cousin of Lou Vega from Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
And they're both hitmen. You know what I'm saying? But all those worlds are connected in one way, shape, or form. Like for instance, like when they open the trunk, it's not like directly, but like and there's little things in there like
they're like
the
Easter
briefcase
eggs.
When they open it, it's golden. Sure,
they're like Easter eggs.
Yeah, and before we get into anything, it's funny you say Easter eggs because it used to be that Easter eggs were just that. It was like you may or may not find it, and that's okay. But you know what I think is really corny with all the shows going on right now is they purposely put Easter eggs and then leak it out on the internet. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what the fuck is that? Like an Easter egg you're not supposed to know about till like forever later. You know what I'm saying?
Unless you're just
I feel like they're just doing it on purpose now.
Unless
you're a fanboy. Agreed. But the shit they're putting in now, like you would have 1 or 2 Easter eggs in a show or a movie. It's like now there's 20 per episode. Like, come on, dog. Like it's not even an Easter egg anymore.
Like the Vic Vega thing, like I caught that immediately, like back in the day, because I had seen Pulp Fiction probably like 15 times in 1 week, right? So I swear, dude, when that movie came out, man, I was like, yo, this is a fucking masterpiece. Like,
man.
Everybody that I ran into, I was like, yo, like, you got to watch this shit. And if you don't have it, I can go to the house and pick up the videotape. And you know what I mean? That's back when video.
Oh, yeah. VHS.
Like, it was a big deal. Like, if you had the videotape of something, like, it's like bring it over. You know what I mean? Like we don't have to go to Blockbuster to go pick it up. You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't jump online and just be like, yo, let's stream that fucking thing. You know, like, like somebody either had to have the videotape or you had to go to Blockbuster and get the shit
Right.
and spend the money for it.
Well, like you were saying about fanboys going on there, it's the internet age. As soon as something comes out, they all share it online and they share it with their friends. And someone knows a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy that has a channel, and they spill the beans. And many of the people that run these channels,
Reservoir Dogs until like
get that.
way after I saw Pulp Fiction. I saw Reservoir Dogs like 6 months later, and I caught it right away. I was like, "Oh, Vic Vega, the Vega."
Yeah, there's a lot to consider. For instance,
I'm not arguing the rate. I'm not arguing in the rate in which the Easter egg news gets spread. I'm arguing that they're put in there on purpose. Why else would there be 20 Easter eggs per episode? Like, that's just
allow me to explain that.
All right, explain that shit.
The reason I'm gonna explain that shit. So here it is. With all
my water smells like sediment.
There's a smell for sediment. All right. I wouldn't drink it.
Man.
It's like that mercury in the tuna.
Yeah.
So here you go. So what you see is Easter eggs weren't a common thing. There were 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, but many of us, whether 80s kids, 90s kids, we grew up in that area. So what happens? The fanboys now work in the industry. So of course there's going to be 20 references to comic books. There's going to be 20 references to a favorite, sci-fi show. They'll throw in an Easter egg to make a sort of hint as to what's going on behind the scenes. For instance, let's start. It's a cultural reference, but it was also an Easter egg. For instance, in the in Avengers, when they Infinity War, in that one, Peter Parker talks about the wizard alien getting thrown off the ship and freezing in our space. Oh, that was just like an alien. And he brings that up. Well, at that time, Disney was buying 20th Century Fox. And so, yes, Disney now owns all the 20th Century Fox.
Damn, dog.
All the 20th Century Fox properties. That means Terminator. That means Aliens. Now,
I hope they don't
anybody
fuck it
flips out. Before everyone flips out, no,
I'm flipping out.
They're not gonna have Winnie the Pooh getting face hugged and have a cotton ball xenomorph pop out of his chest.
Oh yeah, it'll be like a nice, cute little baby xenomorph that becomes a good guy.
That comes out, or out of
They might give birth to it. It's not popping out of chest. They're gonna just give birth to it. Like,
right.
They'll come out of the kangaroo.
Yeah.
They wouldn't dare do it to Christopher Robin. Poor Christopher Robin.
Yo, I think we're on to something.
In showcase of that, of course, yes. So here it is.
Wow,
Marvel's Alien #1. So now Marvel's coming in, and there's all these cover releases.
Show that again, man. That cover looked really cool. Let me see that.
It's an alien skull, but at the top of it, it's a planet surface, like in the movie. And the title is pretty much written like Alien, like in the opening sequence.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Of the movie. So, yeah. They've got some good talent on it. It's a good read. They've got a lot to live up to with compared to what Dark Horse had run. They got a lot to live up to as far as that goes, but there's already teasers all over. They've got pictures of all the Marvel superheroes in death battles with the aliens. There's all this advertisement about how they're going to bring in the alien universe. Yes, HBO Max are getting an Aliens maxi series called Alien Fire Teams. That's what's coming out. So yes. So while Mickey Mouse will never get the deserved nesting, that
That's as good as I could
yeah.
get the cover there.
Yeah, well,
look at that.
Irving will probably never have a 9.8 because he handles all his stuff. Like,
Yeah, I read my book stuff. I read
he
it.
handles
Sorry.
all his stuff. Like,
I read it.
you won't even get 10 cents at a yard sale for his stuff. Like, he reads it over and over,
While he's eating.
Zero concern for condition. Like, it's like, yo, I'm gonna read this thing a million times, and it's for me. Like, whatever.
It's for me. That's what it is. It's for me. That's just the
He folds the corners.
And I will tell you that when I was really, really young, Irving once told me something, and it resonated with me till this day. You buy one to read one, and you buy one to put it away. Preserve it, right? So, like, I always, like, when I collected comic books when I was a little kid, I always would get a second issue, put it in the backing with sleeve and a backing. That one get put away, and just fuck with the other one. You know what I mean? Like, go through it, take it to school,
that's what you do.
throw it in the backpack.
One
didn't have to worry about it.
One for the read, one for the sleeve.
Yep. Yeah, basically.
Like,
and you know, again, going into the whole shared universe. I mean, that's a thing it's big now. It's big now. And it's big now for two very big reasons. Where I had, you know, my tip of the hat to Kevin Feige, who essentially created a mega franchise for Disney, for Marvel Studios. Look, let's be honest here. For those that don't know, the comic book industry is dying. It's dying. It's in bad shape. However, as a IP, as an intellectual property, comics are huge. They don't care how many issues they sell anymore. What they want is how good is this, and can this lead to a movie or television series? So yes, you're going to have your Alien comics, Wolverine versus Alien. You have the Avengers coming up against superpowered predators. It's happened before, Justice League versus Predator. Or we've had the ever famous Batman versus Predator, Superman versus aliens, and then Batman and Superman versus aliens and Predator. Very ambitious, very well done. So there's a lot to live up to there, but that's the thing. As IPs, universes are very profitable for these companies. Remember when I mentioned Lord of the Rings? Yes, there's going to be a Lord of the Rings maxi series.
Dude, I'm sorry.
You know, comics.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Nelson, are you freezing again?
I was trying to inject something, and it went back to what Nelson was, his CGC that he threw up.
Yeah.
And I fucking love this company, dude. And they just right now, a couple months ago, they just decided to go into sports cards grading to compete against like the big dogs. And I'm rooting for them right now. Like, I'm rooting for them because I'm like, yo, these guys have like a great pedigree. They're just as big of a company, and they're moving into it. From what you're saying is why they're moving into it, because the comic book industry is really, really like dwindling away, and the sports card industry is making a massive comeback. And these guys, CGC, they just came out with CSC. And we'll see how they go, man. I'm excited about it, and I want them to dominate because they're coming out with like an affordable price. These guys, you know, PSA and Beckett, they have completely destroyed the gaming. I mean the grading game, anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry. I just had to throw that in there because
No, that's good. But
this is
that
like
comes
a
down to
really cool crossover. It's a really cool crossover for nerdom. I mean, like,
yes,
I'm a sports card collector. That's like as geeky as you can possibly get. Like, I nerd out and look at fucking the same
Sports
shit.
sports nerd,
Sports card nerd, right? Like, love sports cards, dude. Love collecting like that, right? And to see something from another genre that I love, comic books, like somehow make that bridge and transition into that and have a name strong enough to come in and battle with the two other big names, that's fucking amazing to me. I'm just like, yeah. And you're coming in with a cheaper price because these days there's so much, there's so many fabricated, counterfeit cards these days that your shit's not worth anything until you get it graded, and for Beckett, fucking PSA, fuck you. Hopefully somebody watches this that's from there. Fuck you guys. Let's let CSC fucking take over because they're doing it at a real fucking price that doesn't, they're trying to Beckett and fucking PSA. They're trying to charge more than what the card is worth just to grade it. So you can never get your money back once you grade. You know what I mean? Anyways, I'm sorry. I had to inject that about that. And I think that's so fucking.
Unless it becomes more expensive.
What's that?
No, what I was gonna say was to piggyback off of what Irving was saying. Can you guys hear me, or am I cutting out?
You can hear for a second, but go ahead.
Am I cutting out?
A little, but you can still hear you.
Okay. All right. Anyway, no, I was gonna say to piggyback off of what Irving was saying. Yeah, comic books have kind of become like a way to pitch your movie idea or your show idea.
Yes.
It's sort of like storyboarding. It's kind of how stand-up comedy became a pitch for a sitcom over time. It's like, they had this overarching idea of what their show was going to be to kind of pitch it as a show. It'd be like, oh, my kids are crazy. Well, and then next thing you know, you have a show.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, that's
when you watch Raw, you cannot make Raw into a sitcom.
Well, that's how, like, now that you say that, that's how, like, Ray Romano got his show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Ray Romano.
Yeah, Roseanne.
Yeah.
Tim Allen.
Tim Allen. Yeah,
that was a while there in the 80s.
Tim Allen.
Into the 90s. That became the platform to pitch
their show. Yeah.
So I mean, that became a platform. So something amazing just happened. Keanu Reeves, I posted it on Nerdology 101 group on Facebook. If you're not following, go ahead and follow. But I posted on there that Keanu Reeves had come out with his own comic book, Berserker, which totally feels, I mean, look at the cover. That totally looks like a pitch for himself playing whatever character he just. So, and from my understanding, it's in the works now. So it's
actually it's already out.
Books have definitely become a platform to pitch a show or a movie.
Yeah, and that's what it is.
Oh,
that's what
God.
it is.
Well, they're recording. They haven't put it out yet. The comic is out, but they just determined.
Yes, the comic is out, but
they
do a live action adaptation.
Bottom line is that, like, it makes it so easy to pitch them off of comic books because comic books has been around for so long. I mean, they have withstood the test of time, right? So if people are still collecting comic books that of the same characters that were introduced in the 50s, well, come on, man. You have a recipe for success if you can do it right.
And there brings
or you can do it wrong. A lot of movies have made a lot of money that where they've done it completely wrong. You know, like DC Universe. We're talking about universes. DC
Okay, I'm about to go there. So
has completely failed at every fucking turn until
Except their animations. Except their animations on Netflix.
all right, you're okay. You got me there. I'm talking about live action, right?
all right, yes, the cinematic universe.
Excusez-moi.
They have failed. Hey, look,
And they failed for the most obvious
stuff
reason.
that we just watched. You watched it, dude.
Amazing. Good Lord. Let's just start there. I'm glad you even.
Hats off to Zack Snyder.
Yeah, it is his best film. in my humble opinion.
I haven't seen it yet.
Whoa.
Hats off.
Dude. Good Lord. Okay, let's just say it. Let's just say it. Imagine.
Look, man, and it's hard for me to find 4 hours to take out of my day. That's one of the issues.
Bro, let me tell you
I'm also not excited about it because it's not
you will
new.
not feel the time.
I didn't want to deal with 4 hours of anything. 4 hours of anything sucks. Okay?
Not everything.
You gotta have a break in between, and it's beautiful that they had it on HBO Max, so I can get up and get a sandwich while I'm doing the shit. I love it, man. But I'll tell you, there's not one fucking second of that movie that I would have taken out. And I was reading an article about why he made it so long and like the studios before he left, you know, he had his daughter pass away, like
suicide,
middle of making this movie, and it just like he wasn't getting the same creative liberty that he had thought he was initially coming in with, and his wife was part of it. They lost their child. This is, you know, a family tragedy, and they're trying to battle a fucking studio on how to make the movie correctly. So they walked away. He was never fired. He walked away. He said, you know what? I'm done. Like, and when they brought in his replacement, they rewrote shit, kept telling him it's got to be shorter. So we have the 2017 version, which is absolute shit. It was
garbage.
Reworked,
cinematic garbage.
Reworked.
Yes. Oh my God.
Reworked, but like in the interview, he said, "Look, they kept trying to tell me, to cut it shorter, cut it shorter, cut it shorter." And he was like, "I cut it as short as I could possibly get it." You have all these characters. A lot of these characters, people don't even know who is what. They don't even have their own movie. They don't have their own movie yet. You have to introduce them and build them into what at the end becomes a climax, right? So I feel for him, man. I felt like, they should have just shut down production because he walked away and been like, "Hey, man, when you're ready to come back, come back." But they didn't.
But
they fucked that one up.
Allow me to come in. The reason there's been such a media blitz about that prior to this whole editing thing, and why they gave Joss Whedon, look at his success with the first Avengers movie. But there is a reason why he never did a second. There's a reason why he's never done a Marvel movie since. First off, let's just talk. And I'm glad you brought up Justice League. Let's just bring it out there. Every universe has to have its rules, and the rules lie within the setting. So for those of you who are wondering how it all works, how do they weave it together? I mean, that's got to be all these confusing details. It's not. There are basic settings or standards you have within your universe, and they're very general. Like I said, you look at all those Marvel films. Half of them are standalone. They really don't interfere or get anything from any of the movies. There's a specific set of Marvel films you could watch that connect with the whole Infinity Gauntlet thing, with him getting those Infinity Stones. But there's very little connections. The other half, they can skip those entirely. They're standalone films. They're good films, but still standalone. But they don't violate the rules of that universe. So in terms of the overarching story plot, there's a story in any universe is a story that takes place in the background. It's not very detailed and it doesn't have to be. In fact, it's best if it isn't. It's just there's an overarching story of something taking place in the background. In half the Marvel films, at the end credits, you get a little scene, someone talking about the Tesseract, or a little jewel, or a little device, or a new metal they just discovered, which sets the stage for the next movie. In the background, that sets the stage for several other movies to come in. Again,
now, I
nothing
actually
too
love
specific.
those, Irv. I actually love those. Like after the credits run, and
No, yeah, fans love them. Fans,
and then they
stick around
give
just
you
for
like
that.
a little taste of like
What's next? What's next?
They give you a little taste, but the only thing that sucks about it is that they used to be like not expected, right? But now in every Marvel movie, after the credits, you expect to see that. And
Yes.
I have yet to be disappointed. But so it's fun when theaters were open, you'd sit down and then you see all these fucking people walk out and you're like, oh yeah, you don't know.
Haha, dumbass.
You don't know. They're about to show something. You know what I mean? And it's always cool when you lost that feeling after COVID because I'm sitting with Angel watching the damn thing and she's not going to get up. And I almost want her to like get up so I can have the same feeling. You don't.
Yeah, that was a treat for
It's
the
not
fans.
over.
But that's where, much like Nerdology, that was a treat. That was nerds saying, "Don't get up. Hold on, you don't know what's coming next." There's a little tidbit. And what did the
Like
friends
force you to watch those
the
fucking
friends
credits, man?
the friends who sat there and watched with their nerd friends watching over said, "Okay, what was that, and what does that mean?" And you open the doors for conversing with nerds, and this is what our show does. This is what we're here to do, to open that door for you, to give you that end credit moment where we explain certain things. So here it is. So allow me to explain this. In shared universes, that background, there's always an overarching storyline. For the Marvel Universe, for quite a few years, it was about those magical stones that would form the Infinity Gauntlet, and you'd get the big, big, big bad guy. And again, being glad that he brought up Justice League, Snyder's cut, there were a lot of Easter eggs in there. So here's the nerding part. There's an
I didn't catch any. I mean,
plenty of them. For instance, the Asian actor that was in there, who was the scientist, who was helping Victor Stone's dad. Throughout that, he's the Atom. That's the Atom. For anyone who ever watches Justice League growing up, wherever, or Super Friends,
I didn't catch that.
he was that superhero that could shrink. But yes, Zack Snyder's Justice League had a lot of characters in the background that would start to set up this whole universe. And the term for that, when you're using a film to add to the background, it's called world building. Now,
that's cool.
The rule in world building is simple. Don't tell me, show me. Show, don't tell. That is, and it's amazing how often less talented filmmakers, writers, or others can really expand upon that. J.R.R. Tolkien had a gift for it. Yes, he would throw in those little stories that would come in and they would matter about that universe, but he didn't sit there and just pour over every little detail. That was so that you would go back and read his other books. They were there to entice you, give you a taste of what other books he had written, the Similarian, all the other books, little tidbits about what took place with the ring prior. So you went back and read The Hobbit. It was a children's book, but in reading The Hobbit, you have other stories that come out of the background. So there's Lord of the Rings is not the only set of books that J.R.R. Tolkien wrote for Middle Earth. There's a series of books. There's a series of unfinished manuscripts for the Middle Earth. Hence, like I said, they're now going to be making a Middle Earth maxi series. The term maxi series means it's a very big series, much like Game of Thrones before season 8.
Now, is this going to be a movie or a series?
It's going to be a series. It's going to be a series. And that's the thing. If anything has been cemented right now, I have to say this. Would Zack Snyder's Justice League, would that have worked in the movie theaters? Probably not. But
no, because
how
people
it
wouldn't
works,
have wanted to go sit through a
4-hour movie.
I wouldn't have
there.
sat through it, dude. I smoked cigarettes. Like, I would have missed a bunch of good, you know, like, I like to drink when I watch movies. I like, for me, movies are a big thing, right?
Yeah, they're a big thing. They're a big event.
Like, I love to like sit down and be like, yo, let's watch this. This is a, you know, Justice League. You know, I love to make a thing out of it. Like, let's make some food.
Yes, let's make some food. And here's the thing. And this is where the brilliance in any kind of universe you set in, making a universe, making a continuity, whether it's in the foreground or the background, making some kind of setting continuity for that setting. It allows you. It doesn't restrict you. That's actually misinformation. Anyone says, "Well, if you have to have all these movies connecting, it limits to what you can do." That's actually not true. You know, if that were actually true, comic books would not be where they are. They wouldn't have lasted as long as they have.
So what was your biggest surprise, right? Because I got my biggest surprise as like watching the movie. What was your biggest surprise? Like
my biggest surprise,
without having to say that it just seemed like a totally different movie, because everybody knows that. It was a completely different
movie. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, just from the cinematography alone, for instance, and this is my beef. Joss Whedon, I'm going to go off on a little rant here. Joss Whedon butchered this movie, and so did the producers behind it. Yeah. But with the latest news that you hear coming out of this, Warner Brothers, they've seen the money from this Justice League film. Oh, they're raking into the cash. So now comes the explanation. So what did you give us in 2017, and how do you explain it away? Well, there's a fall guy. The heart
blame
of
it
the
on
film.
the director, dude.
They're gonna make. They've made him a very big fall guy. I think Joss Whedon is now going to end up in a very similar position to where a lot of Me Too directors have ended up in. A lot of dirty laundry.
He's gonna be Me
God
Too.
damn.
Yes.
Damn. That dude
He is.
damn.
Yo, you don't fuck with nerds, dude.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
A lot of.
Fuck up
here's
a movie,
the thing.
they put
here's
you
the
in
thing.
the Me Too category.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm about to go there.
Don't forget, he's gonna have to switch universes. He's gonna go to DC.
It's
gonna go to Marvel now.
They're not gonna have him back. They're not gonna have him back. Not with that baggage. Not with that.
Now Marvel will take him.
No, I'm about to explain. The heart. One of the things that I loved about Justice League Snyder's cut, the heart of the film. The 2017 version had no heart. It had no real storyline or anything like that. Seeing Cyborg, played by Ray Fisher, seeing him, oh God, the heart of the movie.
That was me. That was me. That was all me. That was my biggest
heart
surprise.
of the movie.
That was my biggest surprise. Was that Cyborg had a real presence, right?
He had a real presence.
What's the one
he
in
was
2017?
the heart of the film.
The one in 2017 He gets no love, no platform, zero. Like he's just like the fucking
he's the heart of the film.
The cyborg. Like
he was the heart of the film. He had the best
you
dialogue.
Bring him.
He had the most poignant moment.
Him in this movie is like he is very pivotal. Like to make the story work.
Yeah, very pivotal. I mean, it wasn't just enough that they changed the bad guy's motivation.
I think it's funny you bring that. That was my big
it wasn't it, and here's where it comes in. The actor that played him, Ray Fisher, he had a confrontation with Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon is both verbally, emotionally, and some would say physically abusive on the set. He caught Joss Whedon abusing a female cast member. Remember, there's a lot of young females playing those Amazon roles. And so, and you can call it conspiracy or whatnot, but there is no excuse, none, just from a narrative perspective, to have cut that much of Ray's footage or the cyborg out of that movie.
Because
there's
Irving,
no excuse.
No, I understand if they're gonna cut bits and pieces of a movie, right? Like if they're like, okay, look, we gotta get this down to hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, right? It makes sense to cut as much cyborg as you can.
No, he was the entire heart of the film.
Irving, no one knows who Cyborg is. They're introducing him in this movie. If the only
that
if you didn't read any comic books,
the point.
If you didn't read any comic books, and the only thing you knew about superheroes was what you saw on screen, Cyborg has the least clout.
Okay, so let me bring that up.
Right?
Let me bring that up. Cyborg has actually gotten a lot more attention because of Teen Titans.
Dog, I was just about to say that, dude.
I'm about to go there. I'm about to go there. Yeah, Teen Titans made Cyborg popular again. To say that the average person may not know who Cyborg is, but the movie-going audience who goes to see these superhero films,
they grew up on Teen Titans.
They know who Cyborg is.
Irving,
they know
Justice
who Cyborg
League.
is.
Come on, man! Like you're talking about every single person on the planet, whether they wanted to go see it, somebody's going to drag them to go see it. You know what I mean? Like it's
and the person that will go drag them to see knows.
I didn't want to see
Cyborg
Titanic.
Is.
I got dragged to see Titanic. I still saw it. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't like, oh my God, Titanic is coming out.
Yes, but the movies aren't made for just you and me. They're made for young people, young fans, and the newest generation.
Exactly. Irving.
And
exactly
that generation, that younger fan knows who
they know who Cyborg is. Name.
In DC, he actually is. In DC, actually is. In the DC animated universes, in all the Justice League cartoons,
maybe I'm underestimating
in Teen Titans,
I know who Cyborg is.
Teen Titans Go.
If I walk to the other room right now and I was like, hey, Angel, do you know who Cyborg is? She'd be like, oh, that dude with the funny eye on the shit that you were watching the other day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. That's the
if
average
I ask
Joe.
her who,
That's the
if I
average
ask her who Spider-Man is, she could probably name all sorts of shit.
But if you talk to the kids,
this is how he got. This is how he got his.
But if you talk to the young audience that grew up with Justice League, that grew up with Teen Titans, that grew up with that's now watching Teen Titans Go with their kids, or that audience, or watch those DC animated films, that audience knows exactly who Cyborg is, and Cyborg has made such a resurgence as a character. It has nothing to do with the Justice League film.
I was happy that he had his presence in the movie.
Oh yes, without a doubt.
The way
I'm about to go there.
That alone changed the whole fucking movie.
Okay, yes, it changed the movie, and that's the entire point I'm stating. You cannot, for any narrative purpose, just from a filmmaking perspective, the movie, the Justice League film was the Justice League Zack Snyder cut was built around two characters, Cyborg, and the secondary character was the Flash. But as a secondary character, his major plays were off of Cyborg. You're removing the pillar to your film, the narrative pillar. You don't do that. Not in any way, shape, or form. You could have cut out Batman's parts. You could have reduced Wonder Woman's parts.
Was it just me? I wasn't a big fan of the casting of Flash. Like
Ezra Miller, not everyone was, but he did good for Justice League Snyder Cut. I thought he did very well. I thought he did very well. His stand-up moment was that. His stand-up moment was that flashpoint right at the end. Right at the end, yes. The ending to the Snyder Cut, the climax to the Snyder Cut is entirely different in every way, shape, or form from beginning to end than the one we got with Joss Whedon. So, again, going into that controversy, so Joss Whedon had cut out the parts. Ray Fisher came out and just spoke all about that all over social media. He said, Joss Whedon's abusive, he's unprofessional, everything else. And the confrontation that he had with him was because he was abusing a younger female cast member. What was everybody's complaint with Justice League when they came out? They all wanted to throw Zack Snyder under the dirt. They all wanted to throw Zack Snyder under the dirt because whenever the Amazons were on them, it was butt cheek shots the entire time. Oh, look at those women. That's Zack Snyder trying to show off women underwear with armor on. Yeah.
Oh,
that's not.
Nelson likes that, dude.
Okay, yeah.
Giggity.
Yeah, Nelson likes that.
Giggity,
like, yo,
giggity.
Nelson's like, Weinstein should have taken that shit over if they were going to let that go.
Yeah. So,
I got a poster. I got a poster of Weinstein on my wall.
So
that's what's up, dog.
When you watch, the Snyder Cut, the Amazons are portrayed as Amazons. Their dialogue has been re-added. The color corrections placed in, so no more butt cheek shots.
Hey, man.
Instead, you get these awesome Amazon warriors.
Hey, man.
Dude, I thought it was great. It was great.
Okay, so
I thought it was cool as
all
shit.
The people of color
shit that he wanted, shit that Zach wanted.
Listen.
Hold on. I got one last thing to say.
We got 12.
We got 12 minutes, but you guys, you're taking up all this time talking about that movie, Ivan.
Last thing I want to say.
We still haven't gotten into Falcon.
We're getting in there. Last thing I'm going to say, we're going to move to Falcon.
All right.
What I really, really thought was cool was the interview that I saw with Zack Snyder was when he was like, "Yo, we were sewing the fucking costumes back together because they were so old and sitting in storage." That when he decided, like, hey, look, man, like, I want to reshoot some scenes and, get this the way I want it to be. He said they were they were sewing that shit back together. Like, they were literally, the costumes were falling apart because they were sitting in storage for so long. I thought that was so fascinating that.
Yeah.
With a Hollywood budget, they didn't ones.
Okay, so allow me to go in.
That shit together like an old pair of jeans.
Here's the thing. So Joss Whedon cut out a lot of scenes, and people are talking about this. The scenes that he primarily cut, 100% were all the people of color.
Did you know
the Amazons
were
people of color?
Snyder, did you know that Zack Snyder had his own cut already done?
Yes.
And when they fucking when he walked away from the project and they were like, yeah,
he was almost done,
like amicably walked away, like both sides, good breakup. They were like, fuck you, right? He walked away. He saved the movie on his laptop, and his idea was like, I'll just show my friends what I really wanted to make the movie. But anyways, let's move on. Look. The Falcon, Winter Soldier, super excited.
Man,
I'm
you
excited
read my mind
about watching this, but I've been so fucking busy all week with work, and unfortunately, I haven't even had a chance to fucking check it out. But so this is on you guys,
All
man.
right.
What do you guys think? Is this living up to the hype? Is it? You got two good actors in here,
All right,
man.
so I don't want to go.
How do you do it
So
without spoilers?
I will say, saying
You broke.
Okay, you're
up.
broke
All we
up right
heard
there.
was
I mean,
you
So
know what I'm
not that many
saying,
people
man.
here's the best way to describe
I've seen.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's a buddy cop movie, but with superheroes. You've got one character that's dour and
I love
serious,
buddy cop movies.
and another character that's very lighthearted and delivers all the snappy dialogue. Now, on its surface, that sounds cheesy, but this
No,
is
I
the
love
Marvel
buddy cop
universe
movies.
that we're
Lethal
taking,
Weapon
that
is
we're talking about, and the and Falcon and Winter Soldier. You get a lot of that. My favorite dialogue piece is the one where they're talking about, oh yeah, man, it's like Wizard. There's like, the thing with the wizards is like, and of course, Winter Soldier, who's exasperated at this point by Falcon's giddiness, if you want to call it that. His whole his uber optimism
His
throughout
what?
the entire series. Falcon is uber optimistic.
You know what, man?
He's lighthearted. It's genius.
Can I just
It's
say
genius.
something?
Go ahead.
Can I just say something about? I would just like to say something about this motherfucker right here.
Oh,
I
God. Here we
cannot
go.
stand Anthony Mackie.
Why?
Like this motherfucker.
Why do you want to do this on this show?
Because he's ugly.
I don't care.
As shit.
I don't
Okay?
care.
This
I don't care.
motherfucker. Look at this shit.
Oh God.
That's a shot for shot.
Look at this shit.
That's a shot for shot. Stop. That's a shot
Look,
for
I got
shot.
a better one.
Stop
Look at this
Stop
fucking
that.
face. Look at this.
No. God.
Why you gotta go there?
Look at that shit.
Why you gotta go there? Look at Nelson stirring the pot. Look.
God, I hate that motherfucker.
Here's the thing. I like
And the character
he brings.
whack, by the way. That character.
No.
stupid.
I like the character he plays.
I like the character.
I like the character he plays. Because you know
I
who
like
he
the character.
plays?
It's
You know
like a
who he is?
military guy.
He's like-
that fucking. You know what I mean?
He's the fan.
No, it's like
He's the
somebody.
fan.
It's like somebody. It's like somebody
That's what
ordered
he is.
Iron Man on Wish.
No.
Ugh.
What he is
Nah, man,
he's the
like
fan.
Captain America.
it's
He's like
completely
Captain
different
America
character.
with no superpowers, dude. Like,
He's
Right.
the fan.
I love it, dude.
That's what he
I love
is.
it.
That
Give
is
me a second, hold on.
that is what the Falcon
Boring.
is. The Falcon's the fan.
Very boring.
He's the film. He is the film going audience. That's what he is. And again, in every universe, you're going to need your anchors. There are certain characters that will be established in every universe that are the anchor for it. For Cyborg, for Justice League, he was the anchor to that film. These characters act as keystones. And what you always want to follow, if you ever get into writing or you ever create a setting of your own or get into creative writing, do anything, the internet, is full of possibilities. You always have to have, it's a good idea to have a character that's a stand-in, not for anyone else, but the audience. You're going to need a character that the audience can relate to. It does not necessarily have to be the main character. Brilliant TV shows, brilliant series, whether in certain, if I'm going to bring up, again, I'm going deep into nerddom here. If I were to bring up the old cartoon Robotech, the main heroic character, the Devil May Care, yes, I'm going there. But the Devil May Care character wasn't the main character. The heroic character is not always going to be the main character. And in every big setting where you have a large cast, where you have a multitude of films attached to it, it is often a good idea to have one or two characters who are a stand-in for the audience. And that's where Falcon comes in. In the comic book, I'll be very honest, in the comic book, Falcon is the less cool, personality-wise. Falcon is the less cool version of
anyone.
Cage. Luke Cage. He is the less cool version of Luke Cage. In personality-wise in the Marvel comics, that's all he is. He's just a lesser, cooler version. He dresses up like Stratos from
I
He-Man.
agree. I
He's
agree, man.
Stratos
I
from
mean,
He-Man. And he's a lesser cooler.
picked the
He's
right.
a less cooler version, but his character in the cinematic
They also
universe,
picked the right actor. They also picked the right actor, man, because he's like a less cooler version of Denzel Washington.
he is basically the audience. That's what he is. That is Falcon. Falcon's the audience. He's the audience. Especially now with Falcon and Winter Soldier, because prior to him,
I like his character in that.
you know who the linchpin was? You know who the audience was? You know who was the audience linchpin character? For a while, that was Ant-Man. Ant-Man was an audience character.
Oh, that's my man, dude. I think Ant-Man and Paul Rudd.
Yes. Paul Rudd as Ant-Man was genius.
Oh my God, dude. Like that might be like whoever cast him as Ant-Man, dude, that should be the number one casting director of all of Hollywood.
Yeah, that was such a genius.
Like, it was so genius. Like, he is not the one that you want to put on a fucking superhero movie. But fuck, does it work?
Oh, yes.
Like, it was so fucking
fantastic.
Good. You know, and that goes, did you see that post that Nelson put earlier about the 80s? The 80s, was it the 80s or 90s, Nelson?
The recast?
Yeah, like if you recasted them in the 80s, or was it the 90s?
Yeah.
Picture up if you get
if they were cast in the 80s. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? A friend of mine made a good point. He was like, wouldn't you just recast, or wouldn't you just cast Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man? And he wasn't even on there. And I was like, yeah, that is kind of stupid, right? Yeah, he probably should have been Iron Man.
Do you have that on your computer? You could throw that up?
I probably,
because it's really good. Like, it's really good. There's a lot of people on there that I was like, oh my God, like, that's a perfect pick. I saw somebody put, kind of argue the Keanu Reeves, which I would have done too, because I don't think he.
Okay, so the thing you guys are talking about, the things you guys are talking about,
some pretty good ones on there.
Do you guys remember a magazine called Wizard Magazine? It was about comic books.
Yeah.
And they often did this. They would do, if you were to make a movie, a superhero movie, who would you cast? And sometimes the ideas fell flat. Other times the ideas were brilliant. Like they were picking out some really solid actors. And one of my favorite characters in comicdom.
What the shit?
Yeah, what did you do? Now, one of my favorite characters in comicdom is, well, you want to be on the show, Taz? One of my favorite characters in comicdom is Grifter.
I know Grifter. That was from Image, right?
That's from Image. For the longest time, if they were ever going to do a Wildcats character, the perfect actor to play him would have been Brad Pitt. That would have brought in one. It would have filled the audience.
Well, Brad Pitt is put on here as Captain America. God, he would have been perfect.
That is so tiny. Hold on.
God, it's so tiny. But there's some good ones on here where I'm like, oh shit, yeah, that would have worked.
Yeah,
that would have worked. They had DiCaprio as Spider-Man.
Yes, a young DiCaprio. Yes,
would have great. He could have totally pulled that off.
There we go.
If Avengers were made in the 90s.
Captain America, Brad Pitt. Winter Soldier, John Stamos, dog.
All right,
accurate.
So on here, who's the best one? I already got mine. When I looked at it, I was like, yo, that's like it. Nick Fury. That
man, Fury, look, I'm gonna.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna
actor.
I'm gonna go with.
Who was Nick Fury? Who's Nick Fury?
Here, dude. I'm gonna go with Joe Pesci on this one, dog.
Joe Pesci as
Rocket.
All right.
Rocket.
as Rocky Raccoon. Yes.
God damn.
As the voice of
God
Rocky
damn.
Raccoon. Yes.
Damn, would that have been
no
fucking
love for the
awesome.
Nick Fury. No love for that one.
Okay, who's Nick Fury?
I can't even read his name, but I know that face, and that is the grumpiest
Oh, Keith
dude.
David.
Oh,
Keith David. You put the beans above the. How'd you get the beans above the Frank?
yeah. How'd you get the beans above the Franks?
Yeah, no. It wouldn't have worked. You want to know
What?
why?
You're
Because
nuts.
black Nick Fury didn't exist in the 90s. Just thought I'd throw it out there. There's a reason why David Hasselhoff got the role of Nick Fury in a television movie. Black Nick Fury did not exist yet.
All right, maybe. But
Yeah,
All
Black
right.
Nick Fury did not exist then. In
Thanks
the
for
90s, he did not
ruining that,
exist.
Irving.
Yeah,
was
but I mean,
Falcon black?
Yes, Falcon was black.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so again,
And
like I
Tom
said-
Cruise as Iron Man, that was a good choice.
yeah, I guess.
Dolph
Come on,
Lundgren.
dude.
Dolph
Dude,
Lundgren as
Dolph
Thor.
Lundgren as Thor, that was
Perfect.
genius. I love it.
Perfect. Dog, Leonardo
The
guy-
DiCaprio.
I'll tell you know
Leonardo
who I would
DiCaprio
have
as
loved to have
Spider-Man.
No. You know who I would have loved to have
Now,
seen
DiCaprio as
as
Spider-Man, that was good. I like that.
No, you
All
know
right,
who
all
I
right,
would
all
have
right.
I thought
Ladies
would have
and
been a
gentlemen,
great
ladies
Thor.
and gentlemen. All right, last one. Who?
Okay, you know what would have been a great Thor? I highly recommend watching the movie 13 Warriors. And you see the king on that one. Yeah, that guy would have been a great Thor. Because he played the
We
Viking.
don't know who that
You mean
is. We're talking
13th
about famous
Warrior.
The
people
13th
that-
Warrior. Yeah, the 13th Warrior.
Like Eddie Murphy's on this list. You know what I mean? Like, come on, dude. Like, you can't talk about like some guy like no one knows.
In the 90s, he was known. He's been in a few films.
And yet we
He would have
have
been the unknown. He would have been the
we have
unknown
yet
to
to say
pick.
his name. That's how famous he is.
Again. Dolph Lundgren as Thor. I don't know.
The master of
What dialogue?
the master of like changing dialogue. Meet him. His name is Big.
What?
Yeah, I just don't see him as Thor.
Big Swerve.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. One more in the books. Nerdology 1. Find us on Facebook. We got a group on there. We post
Hey,
pretty
hold
cool
on,
shit
hold
on there.
on,
Hey, up, dog.
Nelson cut out
What's
the whole.
happening?
Yeah,
You cut
Nelson
out the
can't be
whole
heard.
time you were doing
Yeah.
your sign off.
What?
Do it again.
Do the sign off.
You got to sign off again.
All right,
The
man.
whole time.
Whatever, dude.
All right.
No, your sign off cannot be
Nelson
whatever.
Arias is signing off, and Big Swerve is bye.
Check it out. Later, yo. Stay frosty.
Stay
Later. Follow us on Facebook group. Stay nerdy.